Hi, Liberty families. I'm Mr. Nichas. I'm going to be your student's geometry teacher. I'm excited to get this year started, and I'm going to jump right into this video, just get into some information about what this year is going to look like for your students. So up front, I just wanted to give you my email address. lgnicas@fcps.edu is the best way, the easiest, fastest way to contact me. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I know that the virtual environment can be very confusing and overwhelming for both students, parents, and teachers, really. So please let me know if you have any questions. I wanted to give a brief snapshot of what our Google Classroom will look like. The stream at the top here is basically just the announcements that I'll make throughout the week. I'm hoping to just make one announcement on Tuesday morning for each week that just gives students the Hyperdoc for the week, which is a brief overview of what they'll be doing throughout the week. The classwork tab lays out all of the assignments and their due dates. So this is the Hyperdoc. Honestly, looking at this right now, it is overwhelming. So I'm going to simplify this for week 3 just because it has so much on it right now. But I did want to just quickly go over this because it will still have the same sections going to week 3. The asynchronous section up at the top is what students should be working on independently on their own outside of class time. So there's 2 sections each week that they must do, and then 1 section that's optional for them to work on if they'd like. Then this synchronous session, which is the part that I'm really going to simplify, just lays out what we're going to be doing in each class with links to every activity that we're doing. So in week 3, this is going to be simplified into just one thing that is a link to the slides, which will have these links embedded in them. But I don't think all of these links need to be on this Hyperdoc. I just want to simplify this for students to get a quick snapshot of what we're actually doing on each day. I will still keep the office hours, which are Monday 10:30 to 11:20 and Wednesday after school, as well as the second half of Unity time on Wednesday and Friday. That's 4 opportunities students have to come on their own to get extra help. And that's going to be extremely useful for these flashbacks. So every week in this independent work section, students will have a flashback that's a graded assignment that they can come and get extra help for during any of these office hours. There will also be the link to the Google Classroom, but odds are they're already on the Google Classroom. The Google site will mostly just be used for just standing documents, references like the syllabus and grading policies, things like that. This is also a link just to email me, and Edpuzzle is another website that we will be using frequently, along with MathSpace. Those are 2 other websites in addition to the Google Classroom that we will use. The Google site won't be frequented very often just because that is just standing documents that they don't actually need to go to often. But Edpuzzle, MathSpace, and Google Classroom are 3 websites that we will go to pretty often. I just wanted to quickly go through some of the grading policies that we have this year. The grading categories have changed. I don't know if that's even such a big difference to students or parents, but teachers have uniformly named all of their categories as minor, major assessments, independent practice, or graded assignments. The only 2 categories we'll be using in geometry are assessments and independent practice. The reason I'm just using assessments is because our assessments will all be short. They will either be called graded checks or quizzes. Those are the only 2 types of assessments that I really want to use because I don't want to eat up an entire block with an hour-long test. That's basically half of our week in one assessment that doesn't actually give us a huge opportunity for learning. Independent practice is a big opportunity for learning, and it's also going to count as a graded assignment. It's a graded task, but it's also a chance for them to learn, which is why they can receive extra help on anything labeled as an independent practice. They can also receive help on certain ones that are called assessments. So anything that's called a graded check or a flashback, they can receive extra help on, which means they can come to office hours and basically work through each problem with me if they feel like they are uncertain at all about how to do something. So there's extra help offered for independent practice and certain assessments. The assessments that I call quizzes will be done on their own, but they will have an opportunity to retake any assessment. Anything that's labeled as an assessment can be retaken. You should be able to view your students' grades through Parent View. Students should be able to view them through Student View, and progress reports will be sent home roughly every 2 weeks. It's pretty regularly every 2 weeks, aside from certain interruptions like Thanksgiving or things like that. This year, we will also be using a rolling gradebook, which looks completely different from the quarterly gradebook that you were used to last year. So quarterly gradebook, basically there's assignments just pooled into each quarter, and then those quarters get averaged at the end to make a final grade. Whereas in a rolling gradebook, all of the assignments throughout the year get totaled to make a final fourth quarter grade. So the final grade comes from the average of all of the assignments evenly distributed, rather than an even distribution over the 4 quarters, which can lead to certain quarters actually being weighted more heavily than others. Not weighted numerically, but more important based on the topics that actually are contained within the quarter. If you have any questions about any of this, I know that was a lot of information very quickly, but if you do have any any questions about that information, please feel free to email me at any time. Students can come to office hours at 4 different times throughout the week. They should never feel like they don't know how to do something, both math-wise and just logistically through our structure of our class. They should understand how to do things, and if they don't, they should feel free to email me. Please let me know, both you or students can let me know if you need any help accessing anything. I think we've really gotten off to a good start, and I'm excited to just keep that rhythm going into our next week.